20 years ago, I taught in New Zealand, and even though I only spent a relatively short time there, a year and a half, the amount of language, te reo Māori, that I picked up during that time is really quite astounding. As a deputy in an English medium school, sometimes I get quite frustrated with the way that Welsh is taught as a second language without enough of the culture. So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to return to New Zealand.
O ran ystyried mynd i Seland Newydd yn y lle cyntaf, oedd y cyswllt ieithyddol yn bwysig iawn, gweld sut oedd te reo Māori a'r Gymraeg yn gallu cael ei hyrwyddo fel ieithoedd brodorol, ac hefyd wrth gwrs cyd-destun diwylliannol fel mae Sian wedi sôn amdan, a sut mae hwnna wedyn yn cysylltu efo'r cwricwlwm a bydolwg Cymreig i'r cwricwlwm.
For me, obviously I was looking at anti-racism and I was quite interested to see how that was done really in New Zealand, because obviously the Māoris have suffered quite heavily. So I was really interested to see how that played out over there and within schools, what they're doing, and more so in the communities, because I think that's the missing gap here.
Decolonising to me is centering the coloniser and trying to not do that. Not think that way, not play that game, identify the rules and maybe change them to get different results. Re-indigenising to me is standing in the strength of Te Ao Māori, our Māori worldview. It's a strength-based approach, it's empowering, it's knowing who we are, it's knowing that our models work for us. It's not even considering the coloniser. It's mana motu hake, it's tino rangatiratanga, it's powerful. I get a whole different feeling when I'm playing the different games. I know for me as a deputy principal in a large high school, we're in a colonial education system. So we have to decolonise some of those ways so our children and our community can access education. So we're doing a lot of that, playing the decolonising game, but we're filling the system with some re-indigenising mātauranga or ideas or ways of being in order to get different results.
It's what we've learned as Indigenous people to survive in a colonising culture. We've got to work towards understanding what we mean by indigenising. We do degrees, our students wear regalia, and you can say, well, is that indigenising? Or is what's important is for the community to make those decisions so that they will choose their course. The process becomes as important as outcome. And if they choose something that doesn't fit in the pure box, who cares? They're making choices. We didn't get to have those choices. And so what if we stuff up? Stuffing up is good. Stuffing up is how you learn.
Yn ni'n cerdded nôl ar hyd yr chwipr arfordir o Waitangi. A beth oedd dargraffiadau di o'r dydd felly, Amanda?
Dwi'n meddwl y peth mwyaf gofiadwy oedd clywed y côr yn canu. A dim jyst clywed nhw'n canu, gweld nhw'n canu. Oedd gymaint o angerdd a oedd mynegiant gwyneb nhw yn anhygoel a harmonia yn anhygoel. So dwi'n meddwl na'r beth yn sefyll mas i fi, i clywed nhw.
A hynny'n cyswllt efo'r iaith ac efo'r diwylliant, ti'n meddwl?
Ydw, sicr, achos mae lot o nhw ddim yn siarad y iaith a'r ffordd maen nhw wedyn yn mynychu'r iaith i trwy canu. Dwi'n meddwl bod cerddoriaeth yn chwarae rôl holl bwysig yn cadw'r iaith yn fyw.
The differences between our two education systems is the tension we experienced in Aotearoa and the hatred and the racism which is so apparent, be that in open society or but within educations as well, which has seen te reo being a political football. And luckily in Wales, that's rare, it happens obviously, but Wales is regarded, hopefully, as a country where Welsh is celebrated and is taken as part of the furniture.
What was fascinating about the Māori language was the world view that comes with the words. So the verb to teach and to learn was ako, wasn't it, in Māori, which reminded me of Welsh and dysgu and that reciprocity of the teaching and the learning, and the teacher becomes the learner. And
I think that's probably quite a big part of the decolonisation, isn't it? That the teacher isn't this kind of figure at the front of the classroom that imparts knowledge, that they all go on a journey together. There's still an element of that kind of in Wales, I think, where there is a bit of like the teacher has the knowledge and you kind of impart it. We need to kind of recalibrate the way that we think about it, and actually sometimes we're not the expert in the room.
I think what was particularly striking when we went to one of the Maori schools was that they had such a focus on the child's identity within the curriculum. We had that three-legged stool, the basis of the curriculum. One of the legs of the stool was about kind of like reading and maths, but then the other bits were about kind of your responsibility to the community.
Your activism even.
Yeah. She said that her aim was to nurture Maori warrior scholars, which I thought was really inspiring, which made me question, actually, do we have Welsh warrior scholars, and what does that mean, and what does that look like? How do we embed that in our education and in our schools?
This piece here is called Ngā Waka, which means many boats, many waka. This is a waka. And that just represents the manuhiri, or the guests that come flowing through our main office, and just represents, all of who they bring into our school and the connections that we make. So we've got our framework, which is Indigenous of Pepeha, right here up on our wall, and we use that not only to introduce ourselves, but we also use it to frame our curriculum journey for our juniors especially.
What's the history of colonisation in Wales, and how has that impacted what it means to be Welsh? Whether you don't know what Welsh history is, Welsh stories are, Welsh ways of knowing and being and doing.
It is something that, it is about being hopeful, but hope is not a strategy.
No.
We need to actually do some stuff, and I love that. I love that the potential within a systemic change for Wales. Wales is quite an inspiring nation in that sense, and there is some other work which is quite important, unpacking what Welsh culture is, perhaps.
Even though I'd kind of been working towards decolonising the curriculum, it was on a real micro level, and I think New Zealand taught me the kind of macro level, so not being defined by colonisation even.
I think before New Zealand, I thought of decolonisation as getting rid of stuff from the curriculum, whereas now I think of it more as including stuff in the curriculum.
Everyone focuses on the specifics of the curriculum, the content, yes. In reality, if you are decolonising, you have to decolonise absolutely everything. We already thought that way, but it was kind of right, that's more important now that we dig deeper on the like you say, the identity and the culture in order to fully decolonise the curriculum. You've got to be thinking about what are we teaching pupils and why are we teaching it, and be brave with that.
Well, it's a tradition in our culture, if someone gets up and talks, everyone has to come and do a song. So I got to stand up, and now these guys are here ready to sing a song for you.
I mi, dwi'n teimlo mai gwaith emosiynol galwad i'w dysgu yn hytrach na swydd, ac felly bod angen I ni fod yn hyderus yn bod ni'n datblygu pobl ifanc I fod yn arweinwyr y dyfodol, yn bobl sydd yn falch o pwy ydyn nhw, yn falch o'i cynefin, yn falch o'i hunaniaeth ac yn falch o iaith o'i ddiwylliant. A dyna fydda i'n gymryd o'r ymweliad I awdurdod.